Hello, my name is Katie Krummick, and I am the Global Innovation and Design Advisor for the Aga Khan Foundation. And I work on the Schools 2030 team all around human-centered design. And I developed the toolkit that you used, and I'm now developing this mini course on helping you to present your micro-innovation in the most successful way possible. So in this mini course, we have a bunch of objectives for you. But the main idea is that we want you to develop a clear, compelling, and inspiring story that will influence change at the global scale. And then we want to help you feel confident in presenting that story so that when you get up on stage, you can really influence the audience and make a difference. In this mini course, you're going to get some strategies and presentation tips. You're also going to get some frameworks and help for building your story and your slide deck. And then you're going to build your confidence in presenting your story by going through rounds of iteration and feedback with peers, with students, with loved ones, and with AKF staff. Here's the kind of arc of the experience. If you don't have as much time as is listed there, don't worry. You'll be able to condense this experience as well. But the main phases are really pulling together all your materials, everything about your micro-innovation, everything that you want to share with your audience, and kind of setting those out in front of you. Creating your presentation, so writing what you want to say and making your slide deck, and then going through rounds of feedback and iteration, starting again with your students, if you have students who are old enough to kind of engage with you, and if not, with perhaps your family or your loved ones or colleagues. Then iterating and giving your presentation to AKF staff, then starting to refine your presentation and give your presentation to an external audience, so perhaps a policymaker or a business leader, someone in the community who's used to giving presentations and pitching ideas and getting their feedback. And then you'll refine your presentation again, and then you're going to step on the stage and give your presentation and feel confident in doing that. And then at the end, you'll be able to take a deep breath and celebrate. So we at Schools 2030 believe deeply that your voice matters and that we have to hear the stories of your experiences, of your students, of your community in order to effectively make change in the global system. So we're excited about helping create the stage and the opportunity for you to share what you know to be true about the educational context and what your students need. And we also believe that the best presentations are when you come with your authentic self. So being able to come, show your passion, speak from your heart, speak from your head, speak from your experience, and represent the ideas of your students and your community in the most authentic way possible. We also believe that teachers and the education system is more successful when teachers are empowered and given agency to make change in their classrooms. That also when teachers are able to work together to make that change, that we see better conditions and better outcomes. So we want to really support that process of you working together and feeling that agency. And we also know that student achievement increases when we bring those conditions together. So it's best for you as professionals, it's best for the students to come together and work together to solve these problems. So why present your ideas? And you know, we know that teachers are not often given this opportunity to step on stage and present their ideas about the education system. And that's something that we're trying to change at Schools 2030. So the goal here is that you're able to share your micro-innovation, share your context, share your ideas, and inspire others to take action. That could be action from another educator who is excited about trying out the idea that you came up with. It could be from community leaders, policymakers, government officials who get excited about this idea and want to write it into a larger policy. It could be funders and people from foundations and who have decision-making power about resources. They might get inspired to help support the implementation of your idea. So we're using storytelling. We're going to tell your story as a way to influence this change. But we also are really pitching an idea kind of embedded in that storytelling. So what makes a great pitch? So a great pitch inspires action. It inspires your audience to get behind you, to feel that sense of urgency, and to take action to support your idea. A great pitch also taps into the emotions of your audience so that they really feel that urgency to take action. Okay, so there are two small smartphone advertisements that are linked in the slide deck that's a part of your course package. And so I want you to hit pause after I'm done speaking and go to that slide deck and watch these two advertisements. They have very different approaches in the way that they're selling the same kind of device. And so you'll see this one for a Samsung phone. You'll see this one for an iPhone. And I want you to think about these questions as you're watching those advertisements. So what did you notice about the different approaches in selling the smartphones? Which advertisement was more memorable and why? And what role did storytelling play in making the idea either more memorable or less appealing? So go ahead and hit pause on this video, go to that slide deck, watch those two examples, and think about these questions, and then come back, and we'll get started again. So you, I'm sure, noticed in those two advertisements that one was really focused on the object of the phone, and the other was very much focused on the human experience of using the phone to make connection across time and distance. And that very much aligns with our strategy in human-centered design-based presentations. So because you've done this human-centered design process, you've met stakeholders, you have those emotional stories kind of at the core of your micro-innovation design, we want to leverage those stories to tell a more compelling story-based presentation to get your audience to rally around you. So thinking about the Apple phone as the model of really engaging your audience through storytelling. Okay, this is another video. This is a video of a TED Talk given by a woman named Jane Chen. She runs a social innovation project called the Embrace Baby Warmer. And I would love for you to, again, pause the video, go to the slide deck, and watch her presentation, her social impact presentation, and think about these questions. So what did you notice about the presentation? How did Jane Chen share the story of the stakeholders who will benefit from Embrace? How did she share the strategy of Embrace? And how might this presentation be improved? So hit pause, watch that video, think about these questions, and then we'll come back together. So that presentation by Jane was about a social innovation. We're going to be focusing right on education policy. We're all educators. We're all wanting to change education system. And one way to do that is by influencing policy. So what makes a great education policy presentation? So for us, we believe that it's both tapping into the human story of your design work, so telling a specific story about a stakeholder, and also contextualizing that story in the broader system. So focusing on an individual, telling their story, but then explaining how that might relate to the broader system, and how your micro innovation is going to relate to the broader system. So doing both, zooming in and zooming out. So this is another video. This is actual education-based presentation. And so I want you to, again, hit pause, go watch this video. It's embedded in the slide deck. And think about these questions. So what did you notice about the presentation? How did Emmanuel share the story of the challenges his students faced during COVID-19? And was that effective? How did Emmanuel share about his idea? And was that effective? And how might this presentation be improved? So pause, watch the video, and be thinking about these questions. All right, so we're going to transition now to your presentation. And we have some frameworks to help you to gather up all the information and start to develop your presentation. So we're really thinking about these as the building blocks of your presentation. What are all the component pieces and all the things that you need to reflect on in order to share your idea? And I like to use this quote from Albert Einstein to say, if you can't explain something very simply and clearly, then you don't understand it well enough, right? And so the idea of gathering up these building blocks is that it's going to help you refresh and have all the pieces right in front of you so that then you can create a simple and clear presentation. So these are the building blocks that we are putting forward in this framework. One, the contextual information. So what is the community like? What are your students like? What is that space like? What is the why behind the idea? So why is your idea innovative? Why is it worth supporting? Why is your idea desirable? So do the students demonstrate that they're interested in this idea, that it's being successful? Is your idea sustainable? So if you make these changes, will there be impact over time? And will there be support for the idea because of that impact? And then is your idea feasible? So are you able to put together a strategy for funding and implementing your idea that makes sense within your school context? Okay, so in your course package, there are these storytelling frameworks. There are the 5 of them, and I'm just gonna preview them for you, but go to those materials and you can print out these handouts and then literally write on them and make your reflections to gather up your building blocks. So the first is describing the context. It looks like this. Next is, why is your idea worth supporting? And it asks you to reflect on your micro-innovation. Next is demonstrating desirability through storytelling. So it'll ask you to put together a story about a specific stakeholder that then just demonstrates desirability. Demonstrating sustainability through a theory of change. So this asks you to put together kind of all the pieces of the impact, and then that helps to demonstrate that this idea is sustainable. And it looks like this. And then lastly, demonstrating feasibility through strategy. So this is, again, asking you to kind of determine all the pieces of your idea and how it would be implemented, and then being able to convey that as a strategy to demonstrate that your idea is feasible. And that looks like that. Okay, so in order for you to advance your presentation in this first phase, we're asking you to take all those frameworks and reflect and fill them out and gather up those building blocks of your presentation. And then the next video that you can watch will be about how you take those building blocks and turn them into an effective presentation. Okay, thanks so much. And you'll go to video module 2 next.